So here's the thing about Bojack and Princess Carolyn from BoJack Horseman. Their relationship is probably my favorite central connection in the entirety of the main cast, probably also because PC is the character I relate to the most. Describing them as the best thing that ever happened, which the show is wont to do, might not be super far off the mark, given how their relationship turned out by the end of the series. While, of course, they have their ups and downs and major blowouts, as literally any character who even interacts with Bojack in the show does, but at the end of the day, I do think they are the closest out of the main cast and ended up teaching each other the most about themselves. Mostly inadvertently teaching each other, but still, a lot of growth on both sides comes out of this relationship and what they're able to give and teach to each other. Not only this, but in the end, their relationship ends in perhaps the most positive place. Their chemistry is unbroken, there is still clear affection, and they plan to stay in each other's lives for the foreseeable future. Just not in a romantic sense, thank God. Considering where they started the series, with both of them leaning on the other one far too often and creating a very clear cycle of codependence, their relationship is in an extremely healthy place when we end the series. They're able to support each other without begging for favors. They don't feel the need to save or fix each other anymore. And, perhaps most importantly, they are able to act like casual friends. There are so few moments with Bojack and PC interacting where he isn't asking her for something, or she isn't trying to pull him out of a rut or do something for him to distract herself. It's so refreshing to see them be able to act like normal, but close, pals with no ulterior motives. So why did this relationship work out well when so many in the series were unsavable? Why did PC and Bojack overcome all of their problems while others had to find their distance? Well, one reason is that they are the perfect antitheses to each other. Whereas Bojack and Diane struggled to get along because they're so similar, I feel that the stark differences between PC and Bojack led them to become such great friends and help each other with their biggest faults. When Bojack decides to wallow in his own sadness, PC always resolves to distract herself with her career and success. Don't get me wrong, both of these are self-destructive tendencies that are not healthy and do not help you get through any difficult situation. However, it does lead to some emotional adjustment when they come into contact with each other. PC is able to get Bojack out of his own head in a way that others just aren't. We see in 2007, when he's already content to just waste away the rest of his days inside his house, that PC knows how to convince him to take a chance on an opportunity with Cuddly Whiskers. Granted, she has to pretty much outright drug him at first, but hey, whatever gets him out of the house, right? She's often a tad rude or aggressive to Bojack, mostly because she knows him so well. And she knows that that's the only way to really get through to him, because that thick shell of narcissism and denial is super hard to pierce through. But when it really counts, she's able to show him this really warm and loving side to her too. And I think that the fact that she's usually rather cold or sarcastic with him makes those moments count that much more in Bojack's mind. And he does end up loving the job she gets for him, which she worked super hard to get for him, by the way, when he decides to listen to her and actually attend the meeting with Cuddly Whiskers. Now, granted, they end up destroying that job later. What's up, bitches? Princess Carolyn actually gives them the advice not to do that, so she's actually encouraging him to stay in the right direction and not challenge the mainstream and, do this self-destructive thing that Bojack tends to do with his own projects. And then Bojack is able to get PC to focus on herself rather than bounce around to others and help them. I think that because Bojack is in his own head so much, he's much more prone to scrutinize individual behavior, and that allows PC to step back for a moment in a way that her brain doesn't really allow her. When she confides that she's worried about what going back to work will do to her relationship with Ruthie, she tells him that she loves her job and needs it to be a complete person, but she's tired of just doing stupid bullshit. And Bojack very simply says,
"Why are you doing the stupid bullshit?"
I don't know.
He very quickly reminds her that she does so much for everyone around her, and just so much in general, and she can get people to help her out and lighten the load. It's not a crime to ask for help from others, although PC really has trouble doing that, and it doesn't represent laziness either. If you need time for yourself and your daughter, you should absolutely take that time. That will be better for your emotional health in the long run, and Bojack knew that for PC and encouraged her to do the right thing. And that leads her to hiring Judah back, and finally striking that healthy work-life balance that leaves her and Ruthie feeling good at the end of the day. She's been struggling with that the entire series, and she solves it partly thanks to Bojack. And where Bojack pushes people away, PC draws them in. Bojack pushes her away and teaches her to focus on herself. In 2007, Bojack criticizes her for still being an assistant, and she takes that and runs with it, moving forward to do what she always wanted. But it took Bojack's observation, and frankly rudeness, to actually get her to see this and go after it, which she gets nearly immediately, by the way, because she's super talented and capable. And another silly example is at the Halloween party in 2009. After years of being shunted to the side and forced to watch the door, PC realizes that she isn't moving forward with her life and that she actually wants more. And even though Bojack is just kind of being rude and ignoring her at his own party, it does help her to realize what she wants with her life and the direction that she needs to move in going forward. And Princess Carolyn can't resist taking people in and giving them help. So whenever Bojack needs her, she's there for him. And obviously that's going to make a big difference in how close they are. And all those differences really play into why they are such a positive influence on each other, whereas him and Diane might have been a little bit more of a negative influence on each other. Another reason is the genuine affection between them.
You know how to make me laugh.
Oh, so I'm a clown to you? Like Joe Pesci in Home Alone.
You recognize you're being impossible, right?
I don't know how you put up with me for so many years.
I didn't put up with you, Bojack. I liked being with you, and I don't regret it.
Any way you slice it, Bojack and PC have genuine chemistry. I feel that Bojack is annoyed with PC far less than the other characters, probably because she's always doing stuff for him, but hey, any way you slice it, he is the most positive with her. And granted, it doesn't really go in the other direction because PC gets very frustrated with him, but I think her affection comes in the fact that she never leaves, even through all of that frustration. I mean, in the earlier seasons, forgetting everything between them romantically, Bojack is just an awful client. Like, god-awful. He quits in the middle of gigs, throws tantrums, is never grateful, and yet she refuses to drop him as a client, even when her agency encourages her to do so. Because she genuinely cares about him and his well-being. She wants to see him do well, and she's not going to leave him until she's confident in his future. Even though they do have a sort of natural friction because of their differences, they do always also hear each other out and comfort them when the other needs it. Bojack can be annoying and insanely frustrating to deal with, but at the end of season 4, when PC needs something from him, he is willing to be magnanimous and just do it. And when has Bojack ever been generous with anyone in this show without expecting something in return? Not to mention, in the best thing that ever happened, Bojack flat out tells Princess Carolyn that he loves her.
I do love you, by the way. I mean, as much as I'm capable of loving anyone, which is never enough. I'm sorry.
And Bojack has an extremely hard time saying this to anyone. I mean, he can't even say it to Hollyhock later in the series, but he is able to say it to Princess Carolyn because he knows that he does deep down have genuine care for her. And while he doesn't necessarily understand love, he does understand how he feels about Princess Carolyn and that he cares about her. And PC states that she would have come to the friends and family meeting when Bojack was in rehab, even though he doesn't invite her because he doesn't want to burden her. No one else even goes to that for Bojack except for Mr. Peanut Butter, but Bojack doesn't even really want him there. There are just so many small examples of them showing up for each other and supporting one another when they try to do better for themselves. Even if they are placed in between some moments of friction, it definitely did contextualize them as the closest two of the main cast. PC describes Bojack as the one great love of her life. Granted, this is before Judah confesses to her, but I do still think that this is true. Love doesn't have to be romantic. I think she is totally entitled to feel that way, and you can totally see that in their chemistry. She clearly has a lot of affection for him, not only evidenced by the fact that she's still here. Another reason is Bojack and Princess Carolyn's long history. Princess Carolyn has seen Bojack change from the wide-eyed, semi-naive newcomer to the jaded, depressed ex-star that he is today. In fact, she was with him on his journey from the very beginning. Granted, he can't really remember the first or even second time they met, but there is a long history to this professional relationship and personal relationship, because not only have they worked together for so long, they also dated for an extended period of time. I believe 7 years. Both of them have invested a significant amount of their lives and energy into this relationship, and it can be really, really hard to just walk away from that, even after the romantic relationship had ended. Sunk cost, baby. I think this is evidenced by PC stating that she wants the love of her life to have a happy ending. Even though she doesn't see herself with Bojack anymore, he was a huge part of her story, so she doesn't want to see his ended poorly. And I think that makes sense. And even further in the episode Sunk Cost and all that, I mean, That title pretty much describes everything I'm talking about right now, but you can tell that PC is genuinely horrified by what Bojack did to Sarah Lynn, but she is still willing to plan a PR strategy for him and get him through the situation successfully. And when she and Diane are reacting to what Bojack has just told them while hearing him read superlatives to his class, you can see the difference in how they process these events. Diane is disappointed in Bojack and feels that despite how well he's been doing and how nice it is, he needs to take responsibility and face what he's done, even if it ruins his career. While PC feels that Bojack is doing a great job on his way to recovery, and that putting him through something like this might jeopardize this wonderful Bojack that we've gotten the pleasure of meeting in season 6, which is why she decides to protect him. Overall though, this tiny little vignette of them reacting to his speech is one of my favorite moments in the show. The fact that an animated show works so hard at expressions and mannerisms is incredible and also groundbreaking. But the fact that PC has put so much work into this relationship, and when she hears the reporter about to break the story that could end it in such a terrible way, she is willing to do whatever she can to fix it, because she doesn't want the story to end poorly. PC isn't really willing to throw away all of this history that she's had with Bojack, and she doesn't want to have to distance herself from him. She wants to stay his friend, and therefore she wants to fix the situation for him. Another reason is that they always challenge each other to be better. Bojack is pretty rude about it, but he challenges PC to go after the job she wants instead of staying an assistant, and she does end up getting what she wants. He's also the one who suggests that she go and adopt a child if she can't make a pregnancy happen because she's a genuinely good mother. And this message actually is sent in a kind way. And then when she wants to be a good mother and is struggling with the work-life balance, Bojack encourages her to just focus on being a mother and to try and hold back on her job so that she can take on motherhood with confidence. Again, he doesn't always do it in the best way, but Bojack does encourage PC to go after the things that he understands she wishes for, shrugging away what she believes to be major impediments as just a small hurdle for her to leap over. I think that this comes from the fact that Bojack sees PC as unstoppable, which she kind of is, where she has helped him so many times that he believes she can overcome whatever is in her way. So even when she loses that confidence in herself, Bojack can give it back to her. And PC often pokes and prods Bojack, forcing him to get up on his feet, often pretty much against his own will, because she knows that that's exactly what he needs to hear to get off his ass, even if it's just a flat-out lie about the job. I mean, I doubt Bojack would have any sort of career at the end of the show, or even at the start of the show, if PC was not his agent. She pushes him over and over to get back out there in the public eye and works so hard to put him back on top, even when he doesn't appreciate it or ask for it. I mean, she gets him jobs like straight up when he offhand suggests it to her and then refuses them at the end of the episode, like in the telescope. So ridiculous. But she is always trying to get those jobs for him, and she is always encouraging him to follow through on what she promises him to do. He doesn't really ever commit to anything, but she will commit for him. And the last reason is PC's tenacity. PC is such a strong person. She puts up with Bojack's bullshit for years. Yes, she is career obsessed, so she is often willing to look past Bojack's glaring mistakes, only focusing how to fix it in the public eye, but she's also always willing to stick by him for his betterment. I don't think it's always a PR strategy with her. Even after Bojack fired her, Princess Carolyn doesn't really exit his life, and in season 4, she doesn't even really hold it against him either, even after he gives her such a half-assed apology. I mean, he fired her and then ghosted her for months on end, and she's still his friend and still does him favors. She's an absolute saint. Evidenced by the fact that they confide in each other, in Ruthie, in both directions too. Bojack calls her to simply tell her about his day, and even though her day is insanely stressful, she does hear him out and then offer advice, soothing her own emotions at the same time and confiding in him as well. And even after she learns about Sarah Lynn and Gina, she resolves to help him. She knows every awful thing that he's ever done, and he never asks her for her forgiveness. She just automatically gives it to him, and he always assumes he has it. And while I don't think her being so supportive and trying to shield Bojack from his own poor behavior is the healthy thing to do for Bojack's development, you do have to give her credit for sticking by his side through it all. Even after the public completely turned on him after that second interview, she didn't leave. And I think for Bojack, although he doesn't say it out loud, that's what counts a ton. But if you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments what you would like to see next. Are there any other relationships inside this show or any other show that you'd like me to do a deep dive of? I really enjoyed doing this video about Bojack and Princess Carolyn, so let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see in the comments. And if you want extra content, you can go to patreon.com/PosiTVty. That's POSITVTY. There you get all this content early, you get full reactions, and you get these video essays unedited, so you don't have to wait weeks for me to lazily easily edit them together and then put them on YouTube. You could just get them right away with all the mistakes still in there. It's glorious. But anyway, go there, and thank you so much for watching again. I really appreciate it. Hope you had a good dinner, and we'll see you for the next video. Let me know what it should be. Bye-bye.